No one likes rejection. I think that what it comes down to is when you say you want to be chosen for something, it means that you don't want to be rejected for something. And so when I went through things in high school where I felt like my friends were rejecting me, or I didn't get the date to the prom, who I really wanted to go with didn't ask me, or something like that, it felt like a really deep rejection. And it felt like you weren't truly being chosen. But I think it all came to a head and kind of boiled over the year that my parents got divorced. Because in that moment and walking through that time, that's when you truly felt like, they're not choosing each other. And in that, they're not choosing me, and they're not choosing my sister, and they're not choosing our family. And that wasn't it. But what it boiled down to for me was that I'm not chosen. But ultimately, I really feel like I felt rejection in that and didn't feel chosen in that. And that's where I feel like God met me. And even though in my relationships here on earth, I suppose, I felt like there was a lot of rejection, I felt like God was looking at me and saying, I choose you. I will always choose you. But it wasn't the same, because it wasn't a person sitting here next to me, physical person saying, I choose you. But as I walked through the process of my parents' divorce and of family holidays looking differently and family vacations looking differently, and just our family in general having a different identity than it had had for so long, I think God quietly and continually reminded me, I choose you, and I'm enough, and you are chosen by me.
It can be easy for me to think that other things will satisfy me. Maybe in high school I thought that if I got the right grades, or made the right team, or joined the right club, or did the right amount of activities, or went to the right parties, that would make me complete. And those things can be great, and those things can be fun, but in the end, they won't satisfy. Because Jesus is the only one who will make me complete. Because Jesus plus nothing is everything. And I know that right now, when you're thinking ahead to college, it can be easy to think that if you get into the right sorority or the right fraternity, or find that perfect roommate, or find the right person to date, that will make you happy and that will make you complete. And again, those things can be so wonderful. But when we fall into the trap of finding our identity in other people or other activities or our accomplishments, it's just dangerous, because those things won't satisfy. So I remember that Jesus is the one who makes me complete. Jesus plus nothing is everything. So I am complete in Jesus.
The dictionary defines accepted as generally approved of, or normal. I don't know about you, but it seems like a lot of things that I do in my walk with Jesus aren't seen by others as normal. Whether I'm with my friends and trying to avoid gossiping instead of giving into it, or trying to encourage other people instead of bringing them down. A lot of people don't see that as normal. Feeling like I'm not accepted by those I care about and who care about me can feel really lonely. But God always accepts me. I can turn to Him in those times when I don't feel normal and know that He sees me, He approves of me, and He sees me as perfect, way better than just normal.
So when I was a senior in high school, one of the things I was most excited about in going to college was the fact that in going to college, I got a fresh start. And that meant that I didn't have anybody telling me who I was, or people didn't have these preconceived ideas about who I was. And one thing that I was excited about, which is so weird and kind of dumb when I think back to it, is the fact that in high school, I always wanted to be able to wear flannel, which is such a small thing, but literally I thought like, well, I'm not that guy, and so I can't do that. And so like in going to college, I felt the freedom to be able to do this, to be like, oh great, nobody knows who I am, so I get to start over. And in my walk with Jesus, I think the reason why the idea of being a new creation is so huge for me is because of the fact that not only does Jesus make me a new creation on the day that I accept Him into my life, but every day when I wake up, I have a chance to lean into being a new creation in Jesus. And so if I have past regrets or things that I don't love, or the way that if I acted in a way that wasn't the way that I wanted to, Jesus gives me the promise that in him I get to be a totally new creation. And every day I learn a little bit more about what it is that God has planned for me in that. And every day I get to discover a little bit more about the new creation that Jesus is making in me.
Growing up in a broken family and a home situation, I didn't have my dad around. And for me, though I had a stepdad, it wasn't the same role and father figure that I had hoped for and what I had imagined. But as I grew in my relationship with Christ, I started to realize that I wasn't fatherless, that I absolutely had a father in my God in heaven. And I know that, and I believe that truth because I know that I am his child. I'm a child of God. And so throughout my life, I've been able to rely on that truth and lean into my father, even though my earthly father and that relationship is different and it is strained and doesn't look like what we would hope for and expect. I believe that I have a Father in heaven who will always love me and cherish me as his child.
I'm set free from all the rules and the laws that I need to focus on. Back when Jesus was alive, the Jewish folks had over 300 laws that they had to follow and obey. Not one person can obey all of those. Jesus said he came to fulfill the law. What I think that means is he simplified it. Love God and love others. I'm set free so that I'm not comparing myself to other people. There's always going to be people who are doing better, and that's going to make me feel worse about myself. And then there's always people who can be doing worse, and then I can be a little prideful on the other end. I ran track in high school, JV, all 4 years. Never got to varsity, and I got a little upset at that because I thought, gosh, there's so many people who are better runners than me. And then on the other end, I was very smart. I got straight A's, and I would look down upon people that didn't do as well academically. And when I became a Christian, I realized I don't need to compare myself to other people. And because of that, you can love people in a pure and compassionate way.
I am chosen.
I am complete in Jesus.
I am accepted.
I am a new creation.
I am a child of God.
I am set free.